3 different DIYs that you can make for festival season because we actually have time to DIY our own outfits because everything is postponed, but that's okay because now you can do this DIY. Or you can be like me and you can just wear these when you play Just Dance. I know. I really just made these for Just Dance. So the first one I'm going to show you is pretty easy. It is this garter chain that I wore in Kill This Love. If you haven't seen the video, go check it out in action. But what you're going to need for this is some elastic. Mine is about 1 inch thickness. You can sew this by hand with a needle and thread, but I would recommend a sewing machine. You'll also need a ring, and you're also going to need some chain and pliers to be able to work the chain. So the first thing you're going to do is measure out your thigh. And I would measure this by stretching the elastic just a little bit because you want to make sure that it actually stays and doesn't fall as you're wearing it. So the larger piece is going to be the top piece, and then you're also going to need to measure out a smaller piece lower on your thigh, and I'm going to refer to this as the second piece. So once you have those measured out based on your measurements, you're also going to need a smaller piece of elastic, and depending on how far you want them to be separate, that is going to be determined by its length. So mine is around 3 to 4 inches. And then I went ahead and already have my chain attached to my ring just to make things easier. You can measure this out as well depending on how low you want the chain to hang. Here are my measurements on screen. So first you're going to grab your first piece, which is your larger piece of elastic, and you're going to make a circle. And then you're going to grab your shorter piece and you're going to sandwich that in between the 2 pieces of elastic, and you're going to sew this together. I would recommend leaving about 1 inch overlap, and make sure when you sew it in a square and with a zigzag stitch so that it has stretch to it. So now that you have that attached, we're now ready to sew the smaller portion of elastic onto the ring. So go ahead and wrap this underneath and do a rectangle stitch. Again, you want to do a zigzag stitch here. It's very important. Make sure you do that. And last but not least, you want to grab your second piece of elastic, the smaller piece, and you're going to make a circle, and you're going to place it through the center of the chain on either sides, wrap it around, give it about 1/4 of an inch when you sew it down, and then go ahead and sew on a rectangle zigzag stitch here. If you have your chain already attached, then you are done. It's a pretty simple one and it looks really cute. On to the next DIY. So this one is actually a remake of a product that I've already seen online being sold for, I believe, around $30. It is from a website, Dolls Kill, and I thought I could totally make that. Why do I need to pay this much money? I can save some money here. So we're going to DIY it. And so I ordered myself a holographic visor. I found this on Amazon. I'll put a link in the description for you. Then we also ordered these super cute iridescent crystal chain trim. We found these on Amazon as well. These were probably the most expensive thing, but you'll also have some left over so you can use it in other projects. And then we also have this trim that we found at the Dollar King, and it actually already has sticky on it, and we thought we could use this to line on the top of the visor. So all I'm doing is showing you how I'm gluing it and piecing it together. I just grabbed E6000 and glued on the chain. Make sure you place something underneath the visor so it doesn't stick to the table, and give it about 24 hours to dry completely. Make sure to open a window when you're using E6000 because it is very toxic. And then once we've glued that on, then I just went ahead and took off the sticky back from this trim, placed it on the top of the visor, and boom, done. I used this in my Tel Aviv performance on Just Dance. Here's the link if you want to go check it out. Last but not least, we are going to create a harness / skirt. This one I created for Ugly Beauty. And here is a link if you want to go check that one out. But I thought this one would be really fun. This is definitely something you could wear to a festival, and feel free to customize this any way you want. So we're starting off with the skirt itself. Grab yourself some flowy fabric. I am using a mesh fabric. It's a metallic mesh fabric that I already had. And you're going to measure around, making sure that it fits around your waist or wherever it's going to sit. So we already have this cut. And make sure the length is right too, depending on if you want it to touch the floor or not. Be mindful of the length of the skirt as well. Then you're gonna cut another piece. This is 9 inches wide. Again, make sure it touches the floor or whatever length you want it to be. Then we went ahead and we grabbed that 9-inch piece and we hemmed both of the edges, fold it over, give it about 1/4 inch, sew it down. This is an optional step. You don't have to do this. You can literally just cut it, but we thought it would look a little bit nicer. And then what we did is we grabbed the larger portion of the skirt and we sewed it on about 3 inches on each side and just placed it on top. And then we grabbed this really pretty glittery elastic that we had, measured it around our waist to make sure it fits, and then pinned it down onto the whole entire skirt. And you're going to attach the skirt onto this elastic by sewing it. Make sure you use a zigzag stitch here so that it has enough give. Once that was attached, I grabbed a white piece of elastic about 3 inches long and sewed this onto the skirt in the very center. Then I grabbed a little hook that we had and attached it onto the hook, same as we did for the leg chain. And then I grabbed another piece of white elastic, measured it around my neck, and depending on how high you want the skirt to sit, that is going to depend on the length. And we sewed this onto the ring as well. And then I thought to make it a little more cohesive, for the final step, I added one other piece of elastic that goes around my bust. So I measured around my bust and attached it to the hook. And if you like, you can try adding on the trim that had the stickiness on it, but I will say that it doesn't really work well with elastic because it stretches and it comes off. So I've only left it on the portions that aren't really going to stretch. And there you have 3 different DIYs for festival season, because you actually have time to make them. I hope you all enjoyed this. If you did, please let me know, leave a like on the video, and send me pictures if you do create this yourself. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all later. Bye!